Hey, Omid here. So Gia, a friend of mine from high school, recently decided to start her own clothing business, Gmalanco. Now, I've tried and continue to try to start my own successful business, but I am yet to get there. And when I mean there, I mean reaching the level of Gia's company. With a customer base of 25,000 people, selling out her drops within minutes, and working with huge influencers such as Emma Chamberlain, who has more than 30 million followers throughout social media, Gia took the initiative to transform her love for sewing and painting and created an extremely successful startup. And she's done this at just 16 years old. So seeing this whole operation has been super inspiring, and I thought that others would also want to learn more about Gia's behind the scenes and whatever wisdom she has to give us. So here's that. Enjoy our conversation and enjoy the episode. 3, 2, 1. Gia, welcome to the podcast. Good to have you on.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, this is great. Let's just jump into the podcast and your brand and what you're doing. You have such a unique style of clothing with your combination of sewing and painting. I'm just curious, what got you into those kinds of art, and how has it, evolved to what it is today?
Well, I've been doing art since I was out of the womb. It's just something that my family has really helped me with and let me explore my creativity with. My whole family is really artistic. On my dad's side, my grandma is a watercolor painter, and then on my mom's side, my great-grandfather was a portrait painter. He painted the Pope. He painted, I don't know, all these crazy people that I can't think of. But so it's sort of something that's been passed down in my family. And I guess I just like painting the most. Experimenting with school and everything and art classes, I just have sort of gravitated towards painting the most. Just, I don't know. I think it's the most fun. And so when quarantine started happening and they were okay, we're going to have to be at home for this last term, I had a clay class, and our teacher just didn't want to send us home with clay because she didn't really trust us, which it's fair considering the people that were in my class. So basically she was okay, we'll just make an art log, and you can do whatever you want as long as you send me pictures and you're working on art. So I just remember wanting to paint on clothes because I was sorting through my clothes and found all these old things that I sort of wanted to revamp, but I didn't really trust myself enough. So I was okay, here's a piece of fabric, let me just paint on that. And then I stitched it onto the shirt, and all my friends were that's so cool, you should do something. And I just made my company initially so I could make shirts for my friends, but then I guess other people really liked it. So that's sort of where the whole thing came from.
Wow, that's awesome. So besides kind of your friends and wanting to make clothes for them, what else, was there anything else that inspired you to create your company?
I've always been into the idea of entrepreneurship. I thought I could be really good at it just because I know how to harness social media and everything and get a good following. I thought that I could probably do that if I ever were to start a business. But just in terms of wanting to make money for college and everything, I thought that this could also be a good way to do that.
So entrepreneurship to me is kind of one of those words that people define, differently. To me, right. Entrepreneurship is something it's creating, it's solving a problem and trying to, fix that problem for, a greater cause. What would you define entrepreneurship?
I would define it as finding or creating a product that's really unique to yourself that maybe there isn't a market for already. Sort of what you said, that there's not necessarily a problem, but just that there hasn't, been something for that specific, area in the market yet. So I just think something that's really unique to you and something that you haven't seen done before.
Right. Going into clothing has always seemed like one of those industries that's really difficult to get into and to find a spot in. I have a couple other friends who like to make clothes and started a company. So were there any hesitancies at first, when you were trying to start Gmalanco, or did you even think about that in the beginning?
I don't think I really thought about it just because I didn't really think it would end up going this far. But as I progressed, I saw that it was definitely harder just in terms of suppliers and, getting to make a product like specific to what I wanted. I mean, I'm not at the point yet where I can like, have a factory making the tank top that I want exactly the way I want it, exactly the colors, exactly the sizes. So it's like finding those suppliers, and then there's always issues with other brands, and, that plays into, like how people perceive, what I'm choosing to do as well. But it's definitely a very competitive market. I've already seen people like copying what I'm doing and, taking my original art too. But I don't know. I mean, I feel like because I tried to make something really unique, that potentially opened up a spot for me, but I think I can see how it progresses.
How have you dealt with people that have copied you?
Well, initially I like sort of reached out to them and was like, hey, just like make sure you aren't copying my original art. And then I have legal counsel now. So it sort of progressed into, hey, I have my art copyrighted. I'm not licensing it at the time. So if you have any inquiries, please write my lawyer. And that sort of, shut it down. But
Yeah, that sounds a lot more scary for sure.
yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So what was kind of your initial process when you first started your business and started selling? What was that like? Yeah, let's start there.
Well, I obviously started with like a much smaller scale. I was like, let me just try this out with 4 tanks and, do a painting like once every couple of days and then sew a couple of bags just like for some supplementary income. And then I was selling it all through DM, and it was like sort of first come, first serve in that way. And then as my demand increased, it was like I created a website and I started making more. Like I can do like 5 paintings in a day sometimes. Like it's rough, but I can get it done. And now I'm like starting printing too. So it's just finding different ways for me to like scale up and everything.
Wow. So with growing and everything, I've noticed that you've started to do like that thing that a lot of product-based companies do is where they have a drop. My brother's a
Right.
ceramicist and he does that too. What's kind of your process of the drop from start to finish? What have you kind of learned from that that's kind of been tough for you? What's that like?
Yeah. Well, I sort of like try to pick a theme that I'm going to go with for the drops. Like this next drop is like a Halloween drop. So then I create a Pinterest board and like pick some photos and inspiration. And then I have this like Google doc that I've been working on like for the past 5 months or something that has all of my ideas. And then I like color coded and stuff with whether I painted it or I'm going to start painting it. And then I like order the shirts and then match the shirt with the painting. I don't know. That sounds confusing, but it makes sense in my head. But now it's like really nice because I can just like have everything printed for me and I can make multiple of each. And then it's like, I don't have to spend all of my time painting. Like very gratifying.
Right, right. And during the process of kind of working, like when you finally share it on Instagram and your website, what's the relationship with your fans like? It seems really active and exciting.
Yeah, it's a little aggressive sometimes. Like I've had some fights break out in the comments, when people don't get their hands on something, but generally people get, really excited to see the new stuff and like they like, how exciting it gets around the time of the drop and the idea of like trying to get something. And I don't know. I think it's fun, but I've never like been on the other side of it, so I can't really tell.
Right, right. So if you had like one part of the whole drop process that you could have someone else do because you just didn't like it, what would that be?
Sewing. Ugh. I like sewing, but I do not like sewing like 20 shirts and then 40 bags. Like it's so tedious. And because I sew like fluffy bags, it gets everywhere. Like I have to vacuum my room 4 times a day when I'm doing it. So it'd be nice to like get somebody else to do it, but I'm kind of one of those people that likes everything done by me and is like very specific about everything. So I don't know how I'd feel about it going into the hands of another person yet, but we'll see.
Right, I'm the same. I don't know. I always like to do, everything, in my podcast and everything on my own because I don't know. I just don't know how anyone else would do it exactly how I want to do it. So
Yeah.
So Gia, I guess I could speak for anyone that, seeing your huge growth in like the last couple of months and say like what you've done as a high schooler is really, really impressive.
Thank you.
With 25,000 followers now that you have, which is just crazy. And you're selling your clothes out in minutes. And you have some huge influencers. I think Emma Chamberlain with 11 million followers, wearing your clothing. Were you expecting this growth? I mean, what would you attribute that to?
I mean, I definitely wasn't because, once again, I just made this because I was like, I thought this would be a cute hobby and like make some clothes for my friends, like maybe have some birthday present ideas. But then I feel like as people like who weren't my friends started finding it through Instagram and saying they really liked it, I was like, maybe there potentially is a market for this. And the first place I turned for that, like to grow that, was TikTok, because it's so like equalizing in a way that other social media platforms are not, whereas it's like all based off of chance and algorithm. Like there's not really, there's not really, like with YouTube it's really hard to be a new person on social media and get that following. But with TikTok it's so easy. Like if your video goes viral, like you have hundreds of thousands of views. And so I really used that. And then I remember when my first TikTok went viral, I was like sitting with my friends out on the grass in front of my house, and all of a sudden my phone started blowing up, and I was just like, I was so confused. And then as I started to get a following on TikTok, then more of my videos started going viral. And then eventually I was like, I feel like I could reach out to an influencer in this way, because once again, it's like very equalizing. I could have the same videos on my For You page as Emma Chamberlain. So I was like, I'm going to see if I can, get this to her. And I like had this whole plan, and, everybody thought I was crazy. And then she saw my video and reached out to me, and I was like, there's
Wow.
no way. It was crazy.
Yeah. So on the topic of social media, how much, there's of course the creative side where you're actually creating your shirts and stuff, but how much have you focused on or prioritized on growing the company and finding like the entrepreneurial strategies and methods to actually growing it? And like, what have you learned from that?
I mean, I don't spend a lot of time on social media. Like usually if I make a TikTok, I just like take a couple minutes to do it, and like there's some hashtags on there, and if it goes viral, it goes viral, or maybe it won't. But I feel like the thing I spend the most time on social media is working with influencers. Like I reached out to one initially, and then that sort of created a chain reaction of Emily Skinner reached out to me, and then Mackenzie Ziegler saw that and she reached out to me. So like sort of finding ways to build that up, and then like see who it connects with, I feel is like something I've been working with. And yeah, I spend a lot of time like DMing influencers and working with them on customs. And I feel like I really like it because I feel sometimes when companies reach out to influencers, it's not very personal. Like it's, oh, like let us send you something. But when I do it, I really want to make sure that I'm creating something they really like that's like unique to them. So yeah, that's sort of my strategy with influencers and everything.
All right. So when you actually come up with your designs, like for the influencers and stuff, how is the customization process? Do you like to be given ideas, or do you like to create ideas of your own, or how is that?
I mean, it's a little of both. Like, it's hard to know exactly what they'll like. So, I mean, I usually ask them to send me like a mood board or, Pinterest board with some photos they like. And then I still try to make like an original design out of that. Like, I don't necessarily want to just copy a photo. But with Emma Chamberlain, she just basically said, do whatever you want. And I felt like I knew her well enough from watching her on YouTube for like 4 years that I was like, I think I could make something that she really liked. But yeah, typically I try to get like some of their input and then create an original design from that.
That's great. Do you guys think you'll be in contact in the future now? Are you guys kind of closer?
Oh yeah, it's so weird. Like she likes my TikTok sometimes, or she'll like send me a DM, and it's so weird because I've like looked up to her for so many years, and now that she's like talking to me and knows who I am, like it just feels really, really weird. I can't describe it.
Yeah, what does it feel like to kind of have this huge following and kind of all the attention that you're getting today?
I mean, like I feel like I don't really recognize that until like I go live, or and then I actually have like physical people talking to me. But they're all really nice, and they all like kind of seem like friends or something. I don't know. It's like being on FaceTime with a bunch of people. Uh, but I don't know. I mean, sometimes it's like hard for me to visualize how many people 25,000 people is. Like, yeah, I don't
Yeah, what
know.
is that? Like a full football field or something like that. If you had the whole stadium filled, probably around 25,000. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. I think
Wow.
somebody told me like Rio Tinto, but more than Rio Tinto. I don't know.
Wow. Yeah,
That's
that's crazy. I think Rio Tinto is a little less than that, which is, yeah, so that's crazy to visualize. And so with this trajectory, I'm just curious, you know, do you think that after high school that you might actually go into this full time?
I mean, I'd love to continue it. I don't know if this is necessarily like what I'd like to pursue as a career, just because I have so many other interests. Like, that's why I'm doing youth court and everything, because I'm really interested in law, and this is a good opportunity for me to like get experience with lawyers as well. And so I don't know, I like that side of it, but I definitely feel like I'd love to continue doing this and then pursue something else as well potentially.
So it's kind of one of your more secondary pursuits.
Yes.
Okay. And do you have any long-term plans for the brand, like adding maybe a line of clothing for men, which I would definitely wear, or like for dogs or something, or partnering with bigger retail stores? Like, what do you see for the future?
Yeah, I mean, I have a bunch of unisex hoodies coming out this drop. So,
Oh,
yeah, and I've been working with some guys in my grade to figure out like what guys would want to see on shirts. But I don't know. I mean, I would love to like collaborate with other brands and stuff. Like I've always said, I would really want to work with Betsy Johnson or something on a clothing line and just continue like working with influencers and building it up and like eventually just like make it as big as I can. I don't know, to get it to as many people as possible.
right. Who are your biggest kind of clothing inspirations, designers, companies? Like, who are you inspired by?
Well, for this specific pursuit, I would definitely say Betsy Johnson, just because I love the way she like uses color and like mix and matches prints and everything. It's like sort of like fun and clashing, but like in a like aesthetically pleasing way. But just in terms of like other designers that have nothing to do with my brand, I have always loved like high fashion, like Monique Goulier. I don't know if you know who that is, but she's really cool. She designs these dresses, and I don't know. I mean, I don't like spend a lot of time buying clothes just because we wear a uniform.
Right, right.
But yeah.
Great. Well, for the next section of this podcast, I kind of have this like fire round set of questions. I think there's about 10 or so. You just try and answer these shorter in a quicker amount of time. Hopefully you can, but it's okay. Take your time if you need to. But here we go. Hey, I just wanted to say a couple of things about Deem and the Deem stream before we get into the next half of this episode. If you're someone who has an idea, an opinion, a story, a creation, or have anything else you feel the need to share, no matter what it is, the Deem stream is where you can share with the world. And the cool thing is, you can be any age, it does not matter. There are no strings attached, just a simple conversation with me that gets your voice out into the world. To apply, simply go to deemplatform.org, DEEM platform.org, and let me know what it is you have to share with the world. All right, that's it. Back to the episode. All right, here's the first one. This is kind of a given, but like, why did you decide to name your brand Gmalanco?
I don't know. I like my name, and I thought it sounded kind of cool and like Italian, so I thought that would be kind of a nice name for it. I don't know. This is like sort of the first thing that came to me.
Yeah, it fits really nice, I think.
Thank you.
All right, what is your favorite part about owning a clothing brand?
Seeing people wearing the clothes, like because it's like different to have them in my house versus see people actually wearing them, enjoying them. So definitely, yeah, seeing people wearing them.
Cool. And what is your least favorite part about owning a clothing brand?
Sewing. Yeah,
Sewing,
it's so tedious.
Yeah. So maybe this is kind of like part of it, but if you could change anything about your brand, what would it be?
I don't know. I mean, I definitely would just like to take a little bit of the workload off of my shoulders if I could. But once again, it's hard, like when I'm so specific about how I like everything done. But yeah, that's definitely something I would change, is making it less like centered in my home.
Right, right. What do you like to do when you're not making clothes?
I like to read. I like to dance. I dance like 15 hours a week. Or just like, I watch a lot of Netflix. I don't know.
What's your favorite show?
I really like American Horror Story. I don't know.
Never seen it.
You should watch it. I watched it I think I've watched every season at least like 3 times. It's really good.
Yeah, I love Stranger Things. That's my favorite. Have you seen it?
I was just rewatching the 3rd season like last week.
Yeah, so good, so good. I'm excited for the 4th.
Yeah, do you know, like, do they have a release date for it yet, or?
I'm assuming it's probably, well, I guess Halloween's coming up. They usually do it during Halloween, so maybe
Halloween or
next
4th
year.
of July. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Okay, so next question: what's your favorite color?
brown. I don't know. I really like brown. I like wearing brown clothes, so I like how
Yeah, it's
there's
a big thing. I've seen a lot of people wearing brown lately. It's
yeah.
interesting. What is your favorite thing to paint or draw?
Um, I love painting stuff related to Coraline. I don't know. That's just like always been one of my favorite movies. So I feel like I really like painting it just because it reminds me of I don't know. I love that movie.
That's cool. Yeah, no, the animation kind of scares me, but it's a good
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
What's your spirit animal?
Well, my Patronus, according to Pottermore.com, is a greyhound,
Hmm.
but I don't really know. I feel like that's kind of fitting, but also I really like meerkats. So
Yeah, yeah. I got a pheasant. I don't really get it, but yeah, meerkat definitely is a good one. If you could go anywhere in the world right now, where would it be?
Oh, well, I was supposed to go to Paris for my 16th birthday as like this big surprise trip, and then that got canceled. So I would definitely say
Hmm.
Paris or Japan because I love Japan.
Japan is beautiful. I went there last summer. It's amazing.
It's
I'd
so
recommend that for
yeah.
sure. And last of the fire round, who is your role model and why?
Oh, mm,
If you
I would
have one.
say I would say AOC. I love how she's so unapologetic about speaking her mind and being herself, and she's just really strong and powerful. And I don't know. I think she's just so cool.
Yeah, that's great. Awesome. And before I ask my last question, I just like want to give you the floor to shout out anything about your company or yourself or whatever you want to say to your fans that they might find interesting. So the floor is yours.
Well, just for everybody who's been waiting, I know I'm really excited about the drop. I have one coming on the 24th at 5 p.m. PST. I started a YouTube channel, which is Gia Milan. So
Wow.
I have a little vlog on there, which is not very good, but it's kind of funny. So if you want to check that out, and then my Instagram is Gmalanco, and yeah, I don't know, just like look out for some drops and for new products, and yeah.
Great. Well, I will also shout you out on the website that I have, and people who want to check that website out, they can just click the links to all these. Great. And just one last big question that I ask every guest is like, if you could give one or a few pieces of advice to aspiring clothing designers like yourself, what would it be?
Well, this definitely ties into what I said earlier about like entrepreneurship, but like really find a product that you think is unique to you, something that you're passionate about, and that you haven't seen before, because that's what people want to see. They don't want to see something that there's already a market for, that they already see everywhere. They want to see something that's unique to you, that you show passion for, and that you can make something out of that they haven't seen, that can be their own, that they can be excited about. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Great. Well, thank you so much for coming on to the podcast, Gia. It's great to have you. And usually what I do with all my guests is just have them do the outro, which you don't know how to do. So basically what you do is just say, my name is Gia Rinella, and this is the Deem Stream.
Okay, my name is Gia Rinella, and this is the Deem Stream.
Awesome.